Hi folks, and welcome back to PreciseAlgorithmTrading.com. This is Dave, and I'm just going to go through the markets with you guys. It is Tuesday, April 11th, 2023, and something I generally do here is go through these markets with on these videos, and it's really the first time I've looked at them. I mean, I sort of have an eye on them through the day, but like this is the most I get into like the depth of what they're doing, just for, and it sums it up for me. And so when I go to make trades tomorrow, I will know the general state of where the market is. And some people get into like cycles and things like that, and that's really what it is. It's what cycle of the market are we in. I don't want to define it necessarily. It's either going up or it's going down or it's going sideways. So right now, and the markets I look at are with the intent of kind of seeing a big picture. And so I start with either the E-minis or the S&P 500, just the SPX. And over here on the left-hand side, where I'm highlighting stuff, is where these indexes are in my setup. And it's monotonous. Because sometimes, like the last few days, I mean, this is a week or so of candles of just really sideways action on the S&P 500. And that's the E-minis, and it's got overnight action plugged into it. I picked the wrong one here, but the Dow works the same way. So this is the Dow Jones, but it's the actual, in Thinkorswim they use the dollar sign DJI. And it doesn't have any overnight action tied to it. So we can look at the YM, and it will have it. So it'll actually be showing tomorrow's candle because it's almost 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time here. It takes a second to go back and forth between these types of indexes for some reason. It's a technology thing. Yeah, and a performance issue. And so you can see it's actually starting tomorrow's candle right there. It doesn't really change much for me. It's nice to see the overnight action, sort of, but it's also nice to clear it up sometimes so you don't see it. So that's the Dow, and we looked at the S&P. They're both, I mean, the Dow's actually doing a little cradle-looking pattern right now, or spoon, depending on who you talk to. The Russell, which looks like it was up by 0.8% today during market hours, is the laggard, but it is green, and we got bullish potential here. We're going up on the True Momo indicator on the daily time frame. We're still going down, or we have a sell signal on the weekly. So that's, I'll call that that's of concern. Although we do have still this broad downward sloping megaphone pattern, and a megaphone pattern or a wedge pattern is considered to be, basically. It's more volatile because it's creating a wedge, and at some point it's going to break out of the wedge, and a downward sloping wedge should break to the upside. And in context, we'll look at the NASDAQ next. It's the one that broke out already and a long time ago. It really broke out from those types of areas a month ago, back in the middle of March. So you can see that the NASDAQ's been leading the way, and the Russell, if it follows suit, which it tends to lead, which is interesting because we got things a little backwards right now. But generally speaking, that is potential for a pretty bullish move going forward, which actually lends credence to the point and figure charts, the bullish percents, and how they've been looking for basically a longer term signal. you can't just sit back on your laurels and act like you can just trade anything in that environment. But it does lend to potentially more wins to that in that direction. But I like to tie everything together and use our true Momo indicator and price action and all that stuff to kind of understand before I get into a trade. So here's the transports. I was in a short oil trade, by the way, which I'll show you in a second. I got out today just because I'm tired of sitting on it. And it was going against me, and I'm not going to sit on a bad trade like that for very long. So this is the transports, and it's kind of like the Russell. It's not leading, it's lagging, but it is still, it's got some bullishness to it. And actually, we got a buy signal that's potentially setting up on the weekly chart. So what's that mean? It means that since this daily is going bullish and the weekly is potentially giving us a weekly buy signal, that this thing could have some legs to it. It could get some, more of an extended move instead of a muted move. Not saying it will, because anything can happen. This bank thing has really thrown the markets for a little bit of a loop. But in the scheme of things, you just don't lose your head about it, and you take your signals. At least that's how I look at it. So this is that oil trade. It's holding up. It got a pop. I guess OPEC lowered their supply. They shut off some supply, and so that it got a pop. It's still bearish on the weekly time frame. Really, it's more bearish, I guess, on the daily time frame. But this is setting up like it could be a head and shoulders pattern, inverted, and that would be interesting because we could get targets all the way up to, or we get prices all the way up to where these targets are. So that's just something to keep an eye on. I'm not trading it from here because it's already extended to the upside. That would have been nice buy signal back here when the candle turned green and the true Momo indicator was turning up, and we got that buy signal. Actually, we got the buy signal on a either that day, or even once the candle turned green and we got a pullback into this zone, that would have been a good buy. That thing would be up pretty substantially from that 73 level up to 81 right now. So, all right. So that's that for the overall markets. I think that's good enough. And then we'll look at the internals. We go to stockcharts.com and we type in bullish. And I'm just going to look at the big ones. The New York average, it went up by 2.38% today. That's interesting. The transports are flat. The NASDAQ went up by 1.56% today. Still needs to get to that 42 level to put in a point and figure buy signal, or not a point and figure buy signal, just a new column of X's, and it's at 37.52. So it's going to need to get a pretty bullish, positive move to get that to happen quickly. And sometimes it happens, but it might just come slow too. That was the NASDAQ itself. We'll go to the S&P. And it's up by 2.2% today. And the NASDAQ 100 that flipped over to a column of O's, I think yesterday. It's flat today. And then let's look at the S&P 100, which is up by 1.59%. So there's more bullishness in the markets than it actually looks like on the charts. That's kind of the point of doing this. And I'll explain it real quick, but this is an indication of in the S&P 100. So there's 100 stocks being measured, and 64% of them, because that's where the level is. It's the pink over on the right-hand side here. It's at 64, so 64% of them are on a point and figure buy signal, and so better than 50%. You can do all the, what's that mean? It just means that there's more bullishness. There's more stocks in the S&P 100 on a buy signal than there are on a sell signal, and that goes for every bullish percent index, and that's how they work. And they can get washed out. You can see this thing got all the way down to like 8. It was either the early part of this year or when was that? That was last year. Sorry, that was in 2022. It got all the way down to 8, and if only 8% of stocks in the S&P 100 at that point were on a buy signal, then 92% of them were on a sell signal, and basically that's when push came to shove and you got the market reverse directions. So, all right, flip over to our automatic trading system, which some of them are driving me crazy right now, but others of them are just fine. So this is the Russell, and it's been driving me crazy for the whole quarter because generally speaking, this is down. It's been down all quarter. But then you look at it on the 6-month time frame and it's still up and it's fine. It's just, this washout right here it's enough to, it's the reason why people stop trading, for what it's worth. You have to be well funded. You have to make sure you have enough funds to withstand that drawdown. That's what it boils down to. Or this drawdown back here, which happened a lot faster, but it looks like about the same magnitude. That's how traders go broke, is they run out of, or they that's why they quit. A lot of them, because they go broke. So this one's actually holding up nicely finally. This is the NQ, the NASDAQ. This is the quarterly contract, and it's had highs that weren't very long ago, and it looks like it's trying to get back up there. This is what it looks like on the 6-month basis. This happens to be my favorite of my setups that I've got put together. This is an equity curve, so this is our actual equity in the when we're trading. So our equity going up, and obviously sometimes down, but you have to be able to withstand these drawdowns to be able to get those peaks. That's how it boils down. This is the Dow, which is really a volatile sucker. I might look into trying to figure out how to eliminate some trades just so we can still have all the upside and just not trade as much. I'm going to look into that, but I'm not promising anything because I already built this thing once, and I thought I did everything I could to eliminate bad trades. But in the long run on this one, it looks okay too, and when you actually expand it to a year's worth of data, which I do a lot of times on the weekends, just to get a look at it, it's even better. So it's fine, and really add all these together and they're just fine. One typically offsets the other one. What we're looking for is when they all work together for a little while in tandem, and then that really adds to our equity. So, and that's what I got for the night. Hopefully it's good for everybody, and if anybody wants to see anything else, I need to make some videos on how to trade our systems. These are automatic, so you don't need to understand how they work. Maybe doing some setups and things like that, and how the software runs maybe, but really the bigger thing is how to trade our True Momo indicator, and I'm going to set up some videos, and I'm also going to put in some of our the library of these videos so you can look back if you really want to. I've got all those saved, so that's what's coming. Take care, guys. Good trading and good night.